everybody, and welcome to my short cooking video demonstration. Today we're going to be looking at a traditional Italian dish, spaghetti carbonara. And we're going to be taking a look at how to make this specialty dish as cost efficient and as time efficient as possible. I think that's what a lot of people are worried about when it comes to spaghetti carbonara. So total time is going to be about 30 minutes to cook, which isn't bad. The total cost was about $25, even with the specialty meats, pastas, and cheeses. So not too bad a cost either. And the total yield is going to be about 8 to 10 servings. So it's not bad, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and look at how to make this as cost efficient and as affordable as possible. All right, so here's our ingredients. Very simple. We've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil or butter, either one that you want to use. I think for this recipe we are going to be using the extra virgin olive oil, but again, feel free to use unsalted butter. So we have 1 pound of pancetta, or thick cut bacon. I would recommend that you go with the pancetta. I know it's a little bit more expensive, but I found this on sale. It was about $10 for the pound, so really not bad at all. So definitely recommend splurging for the pancetta. It'll make a lot of difference. So next up, you've got 2 cloves of garlic minced, which we'll be doing later. 6 eggs, which are very important for the carbonara. Definitely make sure that we got some nice fresh eggs. We've got 2 cups of grated Parmesan cheese. I went with the Parmigiano Reggiano. Again, this was from Publix and it wasn't too bad. I think this was about $7. Definitely splurge for some good cheese. It'll make a lot of difference. 2 pounds of spaghetti. I always use Rao's. I think that it's just some of the best you could buy for the money. And lastly, just some simple salt and pepper to taste. So there's our ingredients, and I will go ahead and put them on the video now so you can get a good idea of what to buy. So as with any pasta dish, the first priority is getting our water up to boil. Obviously you can use any pot you like, and I don't really have any specifics as far as how much water you put in there. Everyone has a different preference. I just put a lot, so that's basically what I'm doing here. Something I would highly recommend though is that you use kosher sea salt. You put 1 tablespoon in per each 2 quarts you're using in your pot. So while the water's boiling, add either your butter or your extra virgin olive oil to a large pan. I always highly recommend that you use cast iron, a nice seasoned cast iron pan. You really just can't go wrong. So we'll go ahead and add our olive oil to this, and that should be plenty. And let that pan heat up while we work on our other ingredients. So while that oil's heating up, we want to go ahead and get started on our garlic. Now the garlic is optional, but I would always suggest that you put garlic in. I mean, you really just can't go wrong with it. So once that garlic is diced nice and fine, we can go ahead and set that aside, and we can start working on our pancetta. So I've gone ahead and cut up all the pancetta that we're going to need for the recipe. You can see that the thin pancetta was a little bit more unruly than some of the thicker stuff, but that's totally fine because once we get it into the pan, it's definitely going to harden up and be much more maneuverable in the pasta. Cast iron pan has reached a good temp here. I've turned it down once we've got it to about medium to high heat, and we're going to go ahead and add in the pancetta and garlic. Next up, we're going to go ahead and shred our Parmigiano Reggiano cheese into a nice big bowl in preparation for our pancetta and our pasta to be done, so we can add it right then and there. Next up, while we're waiting for the pancetta and the pasta to get done cooking, we're going to take all of our eggs and about half of our cheese, and we're going to beat the eggs and combine the cheese in a small bowl. So now that our pasta water has reached a rolling boil, we're going to go ahead and add our 2 pounds of Rao's spaghetti pasta. So we'll check back in about 10 minutes and see how we're doing. So now that the pancetta has gotten nice and extra crispy, just the way I like it, you're going to want to remove it from the pan and put it into a nice big bowl. I'm going to be using this Dutch oven right here because I think the Dutch oven is a really convenient way of regulating the temperature inside the bowl so you can make sure that the eggs don't curdle when you mix the mixture in. You can get it just to the right temperature. So go ahead and transfer all the pancetta from your hot pan to a nice big bowl. So I've tested our pasta and I think that it's reached a nice al dente consistency where it's firm but not too mushy. So what we're gonna want to do now is, this is I think probably the most important part of the recipe. You want to take it right out of this pot when it's still dripping wet and hot and bring it right in here to your pancetta and garlic mixture. So now here's arguably the trickiest part of the carbonara recipe, and it's adding your egg mixture in at the perfect temperature as to not make it curdle. So I think that we've reached a good temperature. You can see here it's still steaming, the pasta's wet. Let's go ahead and add our egg and cheese mixture in, making sure that we're stirring this as we go. So it looks like we've reached a good consistency here. I don't see much curdling going on. So you can see now, I think that we've reached a really good consistency. You can see that there's really no curdling going on in our Dutch oven here, and there's a good distribution of the pancetta to the egg and cheese mixture. So now we can go ahead and add this to a bowl, a nice heaping portion. You can still see the steam coming off it, so I think the Dutch oven is a really good move here, so you can keep it hot and wait for your tardy guests to come down in the room so they can share in your recipe.
Bon appetit!
Bon appetit!
Hey!